Would you mind sharing just some kind of use cases that you see, opportunity case studies that you see from a RackTop standpoint that really are moving the needle in the commercial space right now?
Yeah, sure. So there's a couple big areas. So healthcare continues to be a growing area. One, because they have a ton of data, right? You think about medical images as a big heavyweight amount of data. Hospitals will have petabytes of medical images and they have to retain them for a long time. And hospitals and healthcares and clinics, urgent care, they've been the target of a lot of these ransomware attacks, right? Even this year we had Change Healthcare. So they're a huge target of these adversaries. And not just for the ransomware and financial gain, but also foreign adversaries are interested in that data because it has data on our citizens. So there's a need to protect that against an attack like a ransomware attack where the data is unavailable because they need to be able to continue to deliver care, operate, right? You don't want to have to shut a hospital down because they've been hit with a ransomware attack and divert patients to another location. So that's a huge area we see growth. That's one of our fastest growing areas. And then the other area we see is in state and local, right? They're another organization providing citizen services, critical data, critical services. And so they've become the target of these attacks for either data theft and ransomware where data becomes unavailable or manipulated. So we see a lot of growth. Those deployments can be small, right? And that's where we're deploying virtual machines in certain cases, or they can be very large when you get into things like the sheriffs or law enforcement where they have body cam images, they have forensic evidence that can be large amounts of data. So that's the second, and then the third area we see is in higher education and research. Right, there was two recent false claims acts against higher education institutions, Penn State as well as Georgia Tech, and that was the government saying, "Hey, you're supposed to meet these NIST 800-171 standards for CMMC. You said you're doing these security things, but you're not really, right? And so you're not meeting the spirit of the intent in those cases." So this is where they're getting hit with a false claims act from the federal government. So now that's been a wake up call to a lot of other institutions that have kind of been saying, "Yeah, I've read about that, but nobody's really forcing us to do it. I'm not really worried about it at this point." Well, now we're definitely seeing that groundswell after those two lawsuits, and people are saying, "Okay, I'm going to have to do this. How do I do that?" And they've actually struggled because to our other points that we've talked about, haven't been the tools available for them to protect the data, to have the audit trail of who accessed the data, to maintain least privilege. It's been a complicated science project. The cloud providers claim they can do it, but it's not easy. It doesn't really do it. You have to sign up for like their highest level. It becomes very expensive. And that's for specific types of data. It doesn't work well for all the data. You might be able to use Azure for some, office docs and some contract paperwork, but it's not going to do well for a lot of the other pieces when it comes to research and other large data sets that need to be protected. For that, you need network attached storage, you need the performance, you need the flexibility, you need to be able to have it on-prem or in the cloud. And so that's that third area where we're seeing that big demand.